You know what's absolutely wild? While everyone's chasing the next big tech unicorn, or trying to become the next Elon Musk, some of the wealthiest people on Earth got there by doing the most mind-numbingly boring stuff imaginable. I'm talking about people who became billionaires selling paper clips, running parking lots, and yes, even collecting garbage. And here's the kicker. These businesses are so simple that a 10-year-old could understand them. Yet most adults completely dismiss them because they're not sexy enough for their ego. Today we're diving deep into the psychology behind why boring businesses create more millionaires and billionaires than any flashy startup ever will. And more importantly, why your brain is literally wired to reject the very opportunities that could make you wealthy. This is going to challenge everything you think you know about building wealth. Let me start with a story that'll blow your mind. There's a guy named Wayne Huizinga who you've probably never heard of, but he's worth over $2 billion. How did he make his fortune? Garbage. Literally collecting trash. He took waste management from a small local operation to a massive empire that dominates entire regions. While everyone else was trying to invent the next big thing, Wayne was picking up garbage and laughing all the way to the bank. But here's where it gets interesting. Wayne didn't stop there. He applied the same boring business principles to other industries. He bought Blockbuster when it was just a small chain and turned it into a household name. Then he did it again with AutoNation, revolutionizing car dealerships. 3 completely different industries, same boring approach, billions in wealth created. This isn't an accident. There's a psychological phenomenon happening here that most people completely miss. We're attracted to complexity because it makes us feel smart. We think that if a business model is simple enough for everyone to understand, then everyone must already be doing it. But that's exactly backwards thinking. The truth is, boring businesses work because they solve fundamental human problems that never go away. People will always need their garbage collected. They'll always need places to park their cars. They'll always need basic supplies for their offices. These aren't glamorous needs, but they're consistent, predictable, and essential. Think about it this way. When you're scrolling through social media, what catches your attention? The flashy entrepreneur talking about disrupting industries with blockchain AI, or the guy who owns a chain of laundromats? Your brain gravitates toward the flashy stuff because it triggers your excitement centers. But excitement and wealth creation are often inversely related. Here's what's fascinating about boring businesses. They have incredible barriers to entry, but not the kind you think. The barrier isn't capital or technology or connections. The barrier is psychological. Most people literally cannot bring themselves to get excited about owning a car wash or a self-storage facility, even when they see the numbers that prove how profitable these businesses are. Let me give you some numbers that might change your perspective. The average self-storage facility generates a 25% profit margin. 25%. Most tech companies would kill for those margins. But when people think about getting into self-storage, their minds immediately go to all the reasons why it's beneath them or not interesting enough. There's a billionaire named David Steiner who ran waste management for years. He once said something that stuck with me. We're in the business of picking up things people don't want and charging them for it. It's the most recession-proof business model imaginable, because people always have trash. This touches on another crucial point about boring businesses. They're recession-proof. When the economy tanks, people might stop buying luxury cars or expensive gadgets, but they don't stop throwing away garbage. They don't stop needing storage for their stuff. They don't stop needing to park their cars. Now, here's where most people get it wrong. They think boring businesses are low growth or small scale. That's complete nonsense. Some of the fastest growing companies in the world are in supposedly boring industries. Public storage, which is basically just warehouses where people keep their junk, is worth over $40 billion. $40 billion for empty rooms with metal doors. The secret that boring business billionaires understand is something called operational excellence. While everyone else is trying to reinvent the wheel, these entrepreneurs focus obsessively on doing simple things incredibly well. They perfect their systems, optimize their operations, and scale through discipline rather than innovation. Take Republic Services, another garbage company. They've built their empire not through revolutionary technology, but through methodical expansion, efficient routing systems, and relentless cost control. It's not sexy, but it's incredibly effective. Their stock has outperformed most tech darlings over the past decade. But here's the psychological trap that keeps most people poor. We've been conditioned to believe that wealth creation should be exciting, innovative, and disruptive. We want to feel like we're changing the world, not just solving mundane problems. This emotional need for significance actually blocks us from seeing the incredible opportunities right in front of us. There's a concept in psychology called the availability heuristic. We judge the probability of something based on how easily we can remember examples of it. Since the media constantly covers tech billionaires and innovative startups, we overestimate how common that path to wealth actually is. Meanwhile, the boring billionaires operate in the shadows, quietly building massive fortunes that nobody talks about. Here's another mind-bender for you. Some of the most profitable businesses are ones that people actively avoid thinking about. Funeral homes, waste disposal, pest control. These industries have incredible profit margins precisely because most entrepreneurs won't touch them. The psychological aversion that most people feel toward these businesses creates a competitive moat that's nearly impossible to breach. Let me tell you about a guy named Henri Bendel who became incredibly wealthy in what might be the most boring business imaginable: office supplies. Not the retail side, but the wholesale distribution side. While everyone was focused on e-commerce and disruption, he was quietly building relationships with businesses that needed steady supplies of paper, pens, and staplers. His company now generates hundreds of millions in revenue annually. The beautiful thing about boring businesses is that they're based on math, not hope. You can calculate exactly how many cars will need to be washed, how much garbage will need to be collected, how many storage units will be rented. This predictability allows for precise planning and scaling that's impossible in more volatile industries. But there's a darker side to this that we need to address. The reason boring businesses are so profitable is often because they exploit our psychological blind spots. We're willing to pay premium prices for services we don't want to think about. Nobody haggles with their garbage collector or shops around extensively for funeral services. This creates pricing power that more visible industries can only dream of. Now, I'm not saying you should go out and start a garbage collection business tomorrow. What I'm saying is that you need to fundamentally rewire how you think about opportunity. The next time you find yourself dismissing a business because it's too simple or too boring, pause and ask yourself, is this my ego talking, or is this a rational analysis? Some of the smartest investors in the world have figured this out. Warren Buffett, who's built his fortune on boring businesses like insurance and utilities, once said that he'd rather own a boring business with predictable cash flows than an exciting business with unpredictable outcomes. This isn't because he lacks imagination. It's because he understands that wealth is built on fundamentals, not fantasies. The hardest part about pursuing boring businesses isn't the work itself. It's overcoming your own psychology. It's accepting that building real wealth might not make for an exciting story at dinner parties. It's choosing substance over style and results over recognition. Here's your challenge. Over the next week, I want you to notice how your brain reacts when you encounter different business ideas. Pay attention to which ones make you feel excited and which ones make you feel indifferent. Then ask yourself, which reaction is more likely to lead to actual wealth creation? The boring billionaires understand something that most of us miss. The best opportunities are often hiding in plain sight, disguised as problems that everyone knows about, but nobody wants to solve. While others are chasing the next big thing, they're building empires one mundane transaction at a time. So the next time you see a parking lot, a storage facility, or a waste management truck, don't just see boring businesses. See billion-dollar empires built on the simple principle that solving everyday problems for everyday people is the most reliable path to extraordinary wealth. The question isn't whether these opportunities exist. They're everywhere. The question is whether you can overcome your own psychology long enough to see them.